Open them.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I can hear.
You're up.
Can you give me audio now from remote one? Alright. Did somebody read Moss or something?
I did.
Okay, hold on. Let me take other graphics. Mike.
Good afternoon. Pretty Kettle Land Live
One of
After
my
Storm Center. I'm here on to Scot Mundt. Plenty of sunshine today in Sioux Falls after we finally got rid of some of the cloud covered southeastern Kettle Land. Expect highs in the 60s today. 58 today in Aberdeen. Mostly sunny skies like southeast
They're not that
winds.
old anymore.
Central South Dakota high of 62. Plenty of sunshine in central Kettle Land as well. And western South Dakota looking at a high 63 in
Let's do another mic
City
check.
with dry skies. We'll have details on the Kettle Land Live Doppler forecast of cooler temperatures as we start November.
I can barely-
Details are just ahead.
Barely getting anything.
Okay, we're getting audio, but very low.
Live from Kettleland Television,
Vidpresso's
Midday in
down.
Kettleland.
There's no vidpresso. Take it down at Mike.
Coming up as the state prepares to execute Rodney
We're not
Burgett,
gonna have
attorneys
big
turn to
press
the
on
U.S.
5
Supreme
p.m.
Court
Okay,
to stop
all
it
right,
from
we'll just
happening.
tell
We'll have team
Sorry to
coverage
elaborate
straight
a
ahead.
little Great bit, fault. and I think we should probably
The
do
man
that.
accused of gunning down 11 people in a synagogue appears in
All right,
court
so you're
today.
gonna cue
I'm Hillary
Brady
Lane in
down,
Pittsburgh
right?
with one of the
Yes,
charges
okay.
he's
Yeah.
facing, and the prosecutors
But you
charged
can
him for
say
the death
on the mic
penalty.
just in case anything goes wrong.
We're following breaking news this midday. The scheduled execution of Rodney Burgett has made its way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
he can hear
Kettleland's Angela
things
Kennedy
that his eyes
is
play,
following
right?
this.
He can
Angela.
hear the show.
Well, Matt, the U.S. Supreme Court just sent our newsroom 2 motions
Sorry,
filed
yes.
this morning. Several lawyers
Okay.
are making
Okay.
a
He
last-minute
can't hear
attempt
anything
to
inside
stop the
because I'm going to cue
execution.
him through Dex.
They
All right,
argue
I'll cue you.
Rodney Burgett is intellectually disabled
Sound
man
under
with
and
a
red.
history of profound mental illness
I'll let you
and a
turn
dozen
these up.
documented suicide attempts.
Redson.
They are crediting 2 of the nation's leading experts on intellectual disabilities,
So he's gonna
saying
be up in
under
about,
current medical
1 minute.
definitions and by evidence, Burgett is intellectually disabled.
And then they will
The
have a
lawyers say
minute to
because of
switch.
that, he cannot be executed under recent U.S. Supreme Court decisions. We haven't been notified yet from the Supreme Court of any filings from Burgett's attorneys or the state of South
Take out
Dakota.
red.
Now, moments ago, we received a statement from Attorney General Marty Jackley.
I should delete
It
another
says,
sentence.
the state of
Sorry.
South Dakota has filed its response objecting to the petition.
Matt will
Jackley
ask
is
a
in
question.
contact with the U.S. Supreme Court
Can you
and
keep
expects
Angela
to hear
on?
back sometime today. We have the documents filed with the U.S. Supreme Court for you to look at
Mike,
on
Matt?
Kettleland.com.
Now, Angela, you've also obtained a letter from the Special Olympics, is that right?
Well, that is right. Kettleland News first reported on Rodney Burgett's low
Good
IQ
idea, Heidi.
during his hearings in the death
30
penalty
seconds.
case. In January,
Don't
experts
hold
from
the
his
intro,
defense said Burgett is intellectually disabled and was in special education classes as a child.
We'll go out to
Now,
Matt.
the
He'll toss
international
remote
chairman
1.
for Special Olympics, Tim Shriver, is calling on Governor Dugard to stop Burgett's execution today. Shriver has been tweeting to the governor and writes in a letter that Burgett participated in the Special Olympics in the 1970s in South Dakota. Again, according to previous U.S. Supreme Court rulings, it is illegal to put
Stand
someone
by.
with intellectual
Mike,
disabilities
Matt.
to death. We will let you know as soon as we have new information on this developing story.
Matt's up.
Thanks a lot, Angela. Now, depending on what happens with the
I'll
U.S.
chew
Supreme
them all
Court,
boxes.
in a little over an hour, Rodney Burgett is scheduled to be executed by lethal injection. Kettleland's Brady Mallory joins us live from the state penitentiary, where the execution
Already
is
released,
expected to
Mike?
happen. Brady?
Remote 1. He's
Good
up.
afternoon. I'm standing in front of the Ronald R.J. Johnson Training Academy. This building is named after the corrections officer Rodney Burgett and Eric Robert killed 7 years ago when they tried to escape from prison. And today at 1:30, the state will execute Burgett for that
Sound under in
crime.
red.
The state executed Robert
Red.
6 years ago.
Red's in.
Based on previous executions in
Is
South
in.
Dakota and state law, we do have a better idea of today's timeline. Someone will likely take Burgett from the holding cell he's in right now to the execution table at about 1 p.m., a half hour before he's set to die. After guards restrain him, staff will start an IV to begin the lethal injection. Witnesses will go to the viewing rooms by about 1:15 p.m. Burgett will then give his final statement before the injection is finished. Past lethal injections have taken about 20 minutes, and after that, medical staff will have to take Burgett's vital signs to officially declare him dead. After that, witnesses will give statements about the process and what they saw during it.
He's back.
Reporting
He's
live,
up.
Brady Mallory, Kettleland
Mike,
News.
Matt. He's up.
Thanks, Brady. Today's
Right, 1 minute
execution
to
is the
switch.
last part in a long line of Burgett's criminal history. To help you understand what led up to today's execution, we've put together a timeline on Burgett and all of our news coverage about him. The page will be updated in real time today as the events unfold. More information has been added just in the last hour. The timeline starts at his scheduled execution for today and works its way back through Burgett's many court appearances and crimes. There, we dig into our archives for a look into his previous escapes and the crime spree that landed him in the state penitentiary. Other things you'll find in the timeline include the execution of Burgett's brother, Roger, in Oklahoma. You can hear from the courtroom recording from Burgett's sentencing hearing and read the letter Burgett wrote saying he was ready for execution. Now here's how you get to it. Just click on the timeline story on KELOLAND.com. You can click through it there.
Don, stand by.
We also recap Burgett's history on last night's Eye on KELOLAND. If you missed it, you can watch the whole thing on KELOLAND.com. There's going to be a lot going on this afternoon, and we will have news crews all over. KELOLAND's Don Jorgensen joins us now with a look at what his role will be later today. Don?
Open remote
Matt,
one.
just to give you a little bit of background, by law, the Department of Corrections has to invite at least one representative from the media to be a witness. About 3 weeks ago, the DOC asked Kello, and then Kello asked me, given the broad background I have of covering Burgett over the past 3 decades. As a journalist, I have covered a few executions up here outside prison walls, but this is the first time I've ever been asked to be a witness. Now, one of the other witnesses is going to be Lynette Johnson, the widow of R.J. Johnson. This is the second time she has witnessed an execution. She was up here when Eric Robert was put to death back in 2012 for his role in the crime. Now, at about 12:30, I'm going to be escorted inside the prison along with the other witnesses. As I'm told, they're going to conduct a search of us, and then they're going to give us a pen and some paper so we can take notes. I'll have much more from my perspective tonight on KELOLAND News at 5, 6, and 10. Reporting live from the South Dakota State Penitentiary, Don Jorgensen, KELOLAND News.
Matt's up.
Thanks, Don. In other news, 2 children are dead following a car crash in McPherson County. A car was heading east on Highway 10 at around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The car went off the road and a car overcorrected back onto the road and hit another car. 2 children in the first car died at the scene, while the 2 people in the front seat have life-threatening injuries. The 2 people in the second car were also injured but aren't in life-threatening condition. Charges are pending against the driver of the first car. A tool in crime-solving technology is being used more and more by law enforcement. Detectives with the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Department use lie detectors on suspects and witnesses on a weekly basis. Critics say these polygraph exams are unreliable. That's why the results are not used as evidence in criminal trials. But polygraph examiners say they're accurate up to 90%.
Green's full.
There's a lot of things on the internet out there about whether or not polygraph works. What I find is the majority of those things that are posted on there are posted by people that failed a polygraph test at one point in their life.
Mike.
Captain Mike Walsh says the success of a polygraph session all hinges upon a well-trained examiner. We hooked up our own Perry Groden to a polygraph. Find out if he passed or failed tonight on Eye on KELOLAND at 10.
Matt's up.
Time now for a check on our midday forecast. Here's meteorologist Scot Mundt. How's it going, Scott? Well, good afternoon there, Matt. Good afternoon, KELOLAND. We have sunshine now in Sioux Falls. I know we had thick cloud cover for several hours this morning in southeastern South Dakota, including Sioux Falls. Now, a lot of that cloud cover has moved to the east and to the southeast to give way to sunshine. And I think we'll have sunshine throughout much of the afternoon, and that will help temperatures warm. In fact, we're already at 55 in Sioux Falls, 55 degrees in Aberdeen, 51 in Pierre, 55 in Rapid City. Winds are starting to pick up. We have east to southeast winds already coming in at 15 to 25 miles per hour in many locations. So expect those winds to continue through the afternoon. Now this is our rainfall outlook. That'll take us over the next 7 days. And when we hit that 7-day forecast coming up a little bit later, you will notice that we have the chances for rain and or snow at the end of the work week and for the first half of this coming weekend. But right now, it's trying to point to areas getting close to about a ½ inch in the north, central, maybe southeastern South Dakota, in the Iowa and western and southwestern Minnesota. Seems to be the best locations to see amounts approach a ½ inch over the next 7 days. Today's forecast, looking at sunshine, temperatures in the 50s and 60s to cover eastern KELOLAND. Numbers today in central South Dakota probably top out around 62. While across western South Dakota, we are forecasting a high of 63 in Rapid City. Tonight, we have an isolated threat for a shower in southeastern KELOLAND as temperatures fall to the 30s and 40s. And we'll have more details on the KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast in just a couple of minutes. Thanks, Scott. The suspected gunman in the deadly synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh that left 11 people dead on Saturday is out of the hospital and due in court this afternoon as the community comes together united in grief. Hillary Lane has the latest from Pittsburgh.
Red's full.
46-year-old Robert Bowers is scheduled to be arraigned Monday. Police say he opened fire inside the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh Saturday, killing 11 people and wounding 6 others.
Suspects talking about all these Jews need to die.
On a website popular with the alt-right, Bowers posted a photo of 3 handguns he called his Glock family and wrote, "Jews are the children of Satan." He also fixated on a group called the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, or HIAS, which helps refugees from all backgrounds settle in the U.S. In his last post before the shooting, Bowers wrote, "HIAS likes to bring invaders in that kill our people. I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics, I'm going in." You can see the Stars of David behind me, one for each person that was killed. People in the community say they can't believe the deadliest attack on Jews in this country happened right here.
The gentleman walks in with a long gun, and I could see the jacket he had on.
Barry Werber was with his fellow worshiper, 88-year-old Mel Wax, when the shooting started. Wax was shot and killed.
He stepped over Mel's body, didn't pay any attention, stepped back, and walked out.
Other victims included a doctor, brothers with special needs, and a 97-year-old woman who was often the first to walk into services. Thousands packed an interfaith service at the Tree of Life Synagogue Sunday night as the community began the healing process. Funerals for the victims begin tomorrow. Hillary Lane, CBS News, Pittsburgh.
Mike.
The U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh is seeking
Turns
approval
right
to
next,
pursue
you
the
can
death
Mike
penalty in the case.
Play
We'll still
two.
ahead
Sound
on
full
Midday
and
in
red.
Kettleland.
Red's full.
A brand new Boeing 737 crashes near
Archie's
Indonesia's
got
capital
Mike.
with nearly 200 people on board. I'm Tina Kraus in London with more on the investigation and the fading hope for survivors.
Scott's up.
And in weather, temperatures are warming. We have numbers that are already in the 50s in many locations. In fact, Yankees coming in at 60. More details ahead in your Kettleland live Doppler forecast.
Roll break.
The Halloween forecast isn't too scary, but what about the weekend?